G'day, it's Jason here from In Search of Australia. In this episode, I'm at Mitchell's Creek comparing crevices to the bends in a river where you get the drop zones, to a drop in pressure caused by the widening of rivers, to see which one tends to have the more gold or the larger gold. Let's see how we go. Now I'm starting down is the widening of the river where I worked last time, except the water was a lot muddier. And now I can actually see what we were working. So there is bedrock here and a drop in front of the bedrock. And the bedrock comes back up here. So it was in fact this big bowl area as well as a drop in pressure. So I'm going to do another sample from here just to see if the gold's still there, but also just to have that comparison for other areas later. The other reason I started downriver was I'm going to start silting things up, and that means that this will flow downriver, which results in it being very unclear. So if I started upriver, did a test there, started moving downriver, I'd start working in very silty conditions. This is also the best way of approaching sniping. So you start downriver where everything will clear, but you know upriver it's clearer anyway. So I'm using that philosophy as well. I'm not going to try and get lots of gold, more than just see what's here. Pan feels like it's been warped a bit. So after what I would call one full pan of material, that widened area with a dropped pressure, including a bit of bedrock, I'd say, got this amount of gold. This would be a spot I would stop and work heavily if I was here and wanting to get as much as possible. So these are the sorts of samples you want, and I'm going to compare the spec count of one pan in each area I'm testing. So if we look at this one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, approximately. So, and now by comparison, here's all of the silt. If I go upstream, I still have clear water. So that's the reasoning. It's time to move on to the next spot. An important thing to remember about crevices is that no crevice is alike, and there's a few features that may make or break its ability to hold gold. So the one I'm looking at here, you can see is getting a flow straight into it. It's got some drop material in there, but the crevice is actually going the direction of the water, which is working against it a little bit. However, sometimes you can get clay or something like that that actually sticks. I'm going to test the crevice first because I need to pan here. So I'm just going to end up with material back in here. Just going to scrape the top layer off and just see if there's grey clay or anything in the bottom. Not looking good. Now, a feature of this crevice is the bedrock's breaking up, so there could be gold stuck in the cracks of that. This is the material coming out of that crevice. I moved downstream because I thought I better check that crevice completely. So out of that small amount of material I just panned, 2 specks. I'll keep trying a few other crevices because you can only get so much material out of it. That would have been about, I barely covered the bottom of the pan there with material, so I probably would have to do at least 10, 12 crevices of that size and that material to even be comparable. But as you can see, a tiny little spot can produce gold. I'll keep going. This crevice has actually been created by degrading bedrock. It's very silty clay though, so I've shaved off the top of that clay and got a few little specks. But interestingly, even though it doesn't have as much of a direct current, it didn't have as many specks as the previous crevice. The one just upriver here, you can see is probably emptied out generally. So it's very smooth bedrock, not much material stuck in it. So that won't be worth it. I noticed this crevice here, it's at an angle to the current, but there was this grey clay showing up there and some large rocks that have got stuck in it. Then it heads up into the bank. Let's give it a scratch. Yabby leapt out at me. I'm looking at the flow here and you'll notice that it's actually clearing quite fast. Could actually be worth sniping. Well, there's gold there, just not as much as I thought there would be. Got 5 tiny specks. Of course, to be sure, I do need to empty it properly. So I'm going to keep going at that crevice and just show you what I get in total from it. Little Yabby's coming in to check out what I've dug out. I only really got 10 specks out of all that material moved. I don't think it's worth continuing. I did go right down to the bottom of one spot and it became very silty clay. But at least I dug up some food for the Yabby, I guess. So those 2 crevices produce gold. There's at least 20 specks there. You probably can't see the small bits, but it took time. And that's probably one of the catches with a crevice. When you luck out and get a really good crevice, you'd get so much more than what I'm showing you here. But that is the feature of finding a good crevice. Lots of people go for them, and you need to find one that no one's touched. One of the oddities of crevicing is it's really hard to anticipate how much gold's going into that crevice. I've got 10 specks out of an area this big, and then I just dug that out to get 10 specks. So it is very variable, and you just got to luck out on getting a good crevice that probably hasn't been touched by people as well. I was walking upriver and saw this, thinking, geez, people have been really keen and excavating. The reason I thought that was, it just stopped dead there at some old riverbed. Then I noticed there was more further up. And it was a wombat. Looks like the wombat started the hole down here. Still couldn't get out of the water table. So just restarted back up here. Looking at the erosion there, and the fact that there was a bit of grass and material down here, I thought it might be a good idea to dig into the bank at this point. What we're looking for is some form of friction, and this would have caused it because it's actually wearing away the bank as it goes. That means that the water has to slow down to do this. Whereas if I swap over, it's all just rocks and flat ground. So the water would have just shot down that way quite easily here. But here, it had to hit the bank and churn a bit. So what I'm hoping is, down here, some gold dropped. This was my first shovel from the bank. It's not too bad. It's not lots of specks, but they're definitely bigger. Not bad as well. There's quite a few larger pieces there, I'd have to say. Given that the bank seemed to be the easiest way to go, I'm going to try, I would say 5 pans full and see what I get at the end. Be interesting. I struck a problem with that bank. I hit the bedrock and then I no longer got grey clay. The moment the grey clay stopped, I got 1 to 2 specks. So it's really important that you're getting the grey clay to keep on to the larger speck count. As I mentioned before, this whole area got turned over. This is pretty much tailings, and it stretches all the way up Mitchell's Creek. I had a little thought about it and I've never really tested this. So I'm going to go down low. I'm assuming gold will still sort of sift to the bottom in even tailings. So it'd be interesting to see if gold is still left in it. One speck. The results of the testing. I'm used to much more gold lately, so it's probably indicative of the fact that I haven't actually concentrated on one area. But 1, it shows that all those techniques work. 2, there's still gold here, but it's probably not as prolific as out towards Bathurst. Well, it looks like you either want to go for crevices or find one of those openings in the river where gold has settled due to the drop in pressure. The other spots that I tried did produce gold, but to a limited capacity. It was very, very inconsistent. So now that I've tested all those areas, I thought I might just return to this opening and see what I can get. If there's something worthwhile, I'll weigh it up and show you. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video.